Hey YouTube, Chicken here with a review of the 66Action Kamen Rider Volume 4, featuring figures 13, 14, 15, and 16. Kamen Rider Drive Type Speed, Kamen Rider Gaim Kachidoki Arms, Kamen Rider Wizard Flame Style, and Kamen Rider Faiz. So we get three more main riders in this set, which is pretty good, and you get my favorite form of Gaim. So this set was more or less a giant win-win for me. This set was released via Candy Toy, Bandai Candy Toy Division, in December 2014. And for those of you that don't know their name, Candy Toys, because they come with a little tiny candy inside the box, hence the Candy Toy. Now these do range for retail about 5,000 yen or so a piece. A lot of stores online do sell these individually, or places like AmiAmi and I think HLJ sell them as a box of 10. So you can pick them up however you please, but let's go ahead and start with Drive and work our way forward. And here is our little tiny Drive, and he is really cool. It was especially neat to get Drive so quickly. Like I said, this was released in December. Drive started in October. So it was really cool to get a little tiny 66 Action Drive so quickly. And if you are fans of my previous 66 Action reviews, which will be linked in some fashion, if you do want to check those out and haven't thus far, I always complained that the original releases just had these little tiny squares, and you just stuck the feet inside the little holes that could hold the feet. Holes hold feet. Yep. And yeah, it was really annoying because all the figures had this little hole in the back that would be for a stand. And they finally decided to deliver a stand, and they kind of ruined it. The way that these stands work is the original bases had slots for the hands, so you could stick hand, and then the figure sat in the middle, which was great. And so instead of doing like hand, and then a pole, they just decided to mass produce these two poles. So you can stick like this pole, not there, stick that pole into this pole to make the stand. And so by mass producing these, they just put a hand, and a hand. And so when you put the poles together to make the stand, you end up having hand storage on the sides here instead of on the bottom. And if you're actually using the stands to hold the hands regularly, it looks really, really gaudy. So while I do appreciate the stands and then giving a way to kind of balance these out, because sometimes the figures are a little wobbly, the stand does look really bad. So you're more or less, if you're using the stand, are forced to hide the hands in a bag or somewhere else, because having them on display like this just kind of looks really bad. They weren't as bad when they were down here, but having them hang off the edge of the stand is a little much for me. But your mileage may vary with that. You may dig it. I don't know, that's up to opinion. But actually taking a look at Drive and not the stands, we'll just move the stand out of the way. He's a nice little figure. I like him quite a bit. Drive Type Speed is a form that I actually really do enjoy. I love Drive's designs. Drive's designs in general have been pretty good, I think. Stands a couple bumps in the road. But pun intended, I suppose. But he's nice. He still has all that nice back detail that the Drive suit has. All the little mechanical underbits of a car are still representative even in this tiny form. And I dig that. Obviously, you're not going to get any tire cons or anything like that. But it's a nice little figure. Mine's got a little bit of a flaw in this leg here. It just pops off way too easy. This is going to be a really hit and miss sort of thing. Some figures will have kind of crappy legs. Some won't. Not all Drives are going to be bad like this. This is just mine, so I'm not going to knock the figure itself for that or anything like that. But a very nice looking little Drive figure, and I love his head sculpt. The 66 Action figures pull off head sculpts very, very well. So while the rest of the figure may not be completely detailed, they usually nail the head sculpts pretty well. So in terms of articulation, all these guys pretty much have the same articulation. They all share the same mold. You get full rotation on the head because it is on a ball joint. These are all pretty much ball and socket joints. Full 360 movement on the shoulders, a single joint at the elbow. That is a single joint, right? Yep. Swivel at the hands because they are removable, and then a ball and socket joint at the hip. Like I said, my Drive suffers from a weak left hip. But you do have a single joint at the knee and then a ball and socket joint down there at the foot. So you do get a pretty decent range of movement on these. So they're nice little figures for only about $3-4, give or take, at the end of the day before shipping. So I dig these a lot. I think they're very fun to collect. And they've already announced up through set 7 or 8 now. So the 66 Action Kamen Rider line is not going anywhere by any means. I included with this guy are a couple additional hands. Most 66 actions come with 4 hands usually, and when permitted they come with a weapon. So he comes with the handle ken, because I guess the 66 action line really likes swords. So he does not come with the dorju, door gun or whatever, but he does come with the handle ken, which is kind of nicely done. I mean, it's missing some paint detail, but scale-wise and detail-wise, it's definitely there. So obviously you're going to need a hand to hold on to the handle ken. So you have that, and then you have a pose hand, and then 2 sort of like more relaxed hands. So let's go ahead and change things up for him. Go ahead and give him the handle ken, because riders with weapons are pretty neat. And then we'll go ahead and give him the pose hand, just because that one looks pretty cool. So there is they don't stand perfectly, being such small figures, but especially with my fabric coating on my table. So there you go. There is Kamen Rider Drive Type Speed. Up next is one of my favorite rider forms in general, and my favorite of the set, Kamen Rider Gaim Kachidoki arms. And they pulled off this figure great. I was really worried about how they were gonna pull off such a kind of armored form in a tiny figure scale. But they pulled it off well. I mean, we already had Gaim Kiwami and we had Gaim Orange arms. So now we have Kachidoki arms to almost complete the quartet of Gaims. We are Jimber away, but it doesn't look like we're going to be getting him anytime soon. But that's okay. We got the 3 main forms, so to speak. But he's pretty nice. I really like what they did with him. He's got these shoulder bits right here that don't rotate or anything, but they are nicely painted. Him in general is just nicely painted. They nailed the head sculpt, in my opinion. They really got the eyes, the compound eyes and everything. And everything's nicely painted up here. Once you get past the waist, everything is a little bit of a mess. These side flaps aren't painted at all. They're just black plastic. And they do come off, so if you need some sort of more posing option and they're in the way, you can either take them off or swing them back around so they're out of the way. So that is definitely nice. And like I said with Kiwami, they did the driver the best that they could, given the scale. He even has his little flags that attach just by a little slot and a little peg right back there. So they can attach right where they're supposed to back here when he's not wielding them. And of course, you can have him wield them as well. I am talking great in this review. In terms of accessories, like I said, he has 4 additional hands. He's got 2 holding things hands, as seen right here, and 2 relaxed sort of posing hands. And also included is the same thing that came with Kiwami arms, the Dai Tai Ken, I believe is what it was called, for the Muso Saber, and Hinawa Dai Dai DJju combination. So let's go ahead and give him some holding hands. Where'd the other one go? I lost it. Oh no. And we'll go ahead and give him his flags, because he wants to AAO, rise up your flag. So he will rise it up as high as he can, because he's a tiny little thing. This is actually an accurate scale to Kota's actor's height. So hooray. But there we go. So like I said, he can hold both the hands. He can hold the the sword as well. So nothing this figure can't really do. It's a great little representation. So if you're a fan of Kachidoki arms, this is a great little one to add to your collection. And of course, if you're having problems standing him, just pop the stand in, and you're good to go. And next up is Kamen Rider Wizard Flame Style. I like this one a lot. Wizard's been really hit and miss with some figures. The WAP was a pretty good figure. The figure art had some weird proportions, but the 66 Action one actually does a pretty nice job. I wish the head sculpt was a little bit more glossy, I suppose. It has a nice finish to it, but it doesn't really capture how, I guess, glossy. I don't want to repeat the same word, but how the wizard helmet actually was in the show. Unlike the other ones where they nailed the compound eyes pretty well, this one just doesn't quite do it for me, though. For the scale of figure, it looks great. I just wish the finish was a little bit different. But kind of similar to Kachidoki arms, you have the sides of his robe right here, and those can pop right off and then slide right back on, should you need to remove them for anything. It does make for an interesting profile, since the robe pieces are obviously just kind of tacked onto the belt. So that's a little bit of a shame, but I don't really think there was any other way for them to do it while still using the same ordinary 66 Action base mold. So, a nice little representation of Wizard. Obviously, his driver can't move, and I would like to see a little bit of black paint on the driver there, but other than that, a nice little figure for Wizard. Included is the Wizard Sword Gun in Sword Mode, which includes a holding hand as well. And then you have two of the kind of flat hands for his various ring poses. And then you have his kind of signature splayed open hand for the transformation. And I don't know if you can see that. You probably can't, because that's a really tiny scale on there. But there is a wizard ring on all of the hands. So that is really cool that they even went as far as to mold the wizard ring in such a tiny hand. So I definitely do appreciate that. That is really cool. So we can give him the wizard sword gun. And we'll go ahead and give him the flat hand. And there we go. It looks like he's activating the final attack. So a nice little wizard figure for sure. And finally we have Kamen Rider Faiz. For the most part, a fan favorite design, I think. A lot of people seem to enjoy Faiz quite a bit. Plus, he is relevant again after 2 Tyson movies in a row. He was relevant in Kamen Rider Tyson, and now he's relevant in the Sango movie. So Faiz is all over the place lately. So a nice little rendition of Faiz. He's got the red lines running through the suit, which is definitely his motif, and they did that well. Head sculpt is pretty spot on. He's got the little rings in the compound eyes, as the Faiz suit does. So they did a nice job there, as per normal. Just a normal silver driver, even though the Faiz shot and the Faiz pointer, I believe those are the 2 weapons, are included on there as well, so that is most definitely nice. Got all the details. And included with him is a weapon holding hand and the Faiz edge. There's a little sword, that sword baton-esque thing that comes out of his bike robot, whatever you want to classify it as. So pretty nice. You have a pose hand, kind of a splayed open hand, just like Wizard, and then another one of the pose hands, and then one weapon holding hand for the Faiz edge. So we'll go ahead and give him the Faiz edge, just because I'm going to pose all mine with their weapons, because I like weapons. And then we will give him just the normal pose hand like that. So again, a nice little version of Faiz. So if you're a fan of Faiz, I would recommend checking this little guy out. So overall, our 4th venture into the 66 Action Kamen Rider line was actually really good. A couple of my figures did have some flaws in terms of joint connectivity, particularly drive type speed's leg. But that is definitely your mileage may vary thing. Not all of the figures are like that. I was just really unfortunate with my drive type speed. But thankfully, most of my other figures in the line thus far are definitely really solid. At 500 yen a piece, these are definitely really affordable, and even at some store markups to 800 or 1,000 yen a piece. They're still nice, quality little figures for the candy toy line. That's one thing I really like about Bandai's candy toy line, is they actually make some really nice figures. So if you're into kind of the slightly deformed chibi style that this line represents, then these are definitely worth taking a look at. And if you like any of these riders, I would most definitely recommend picking them up. So thanks for watching, take care, and have a great one. Bye.